that, but it's a lot of fun to eat good food with other people. Yeah. And so I think steak is the new whiskey. So kind of having a party, just do it on the grill, and it's a lot healthier. And I think that's kind of a trendy vibe. So I'm motivated to share those experiences with other people.
I never saw a guy going after it harder than you. And I'm not saying that lightly.
We're locked in for the grand opening of UFC Largo. So that's supposed to be like 750, 1,000 people. I feel like the universe wants me selling extraordinary beef.
Welcome to Create Before Consume. Now, here's your host, Fitz.
Welcome to the Create Before Consume podcast, a podcast from creators for creators, all about creating. Today, I have the one and only, the Mr. Beef Bootlegger.
What's happening, Fitz?
Stuart Holley. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming. We connected and you were like, okay, I want to do that influencer, TikTok, Instagram shenanigans, because you wanted to take young adults under your wing and basically teach them what it means to be like a leader,
Yeah, a little bit like that. That might be said more profoundly than I thought, but I thought that I could help 20 to 40-year-old males and kind of be a little bit of a mentor. And we had the mentor magnet, so I lived a good life. And, sometimes when I'm around guys that age, they look up to me a little bit. So I thought I could help some people. But it wasn't necessarily to be an influencer extraordinaire, But that's all good.
Everybody sees those people on the internet and you're like, okay, they're just regular dudes, whatever, Yeah. Stuff doesn't matter. And I'm just like, in these 6 months since I met you, I never saw a guy going after it harder than you. And I'm not saying that lightly because we are hanging out with entrepreneurs in like Nova, for example.
Yeah.
In St. Pete, it's popping. Everybody has a hustle. Everybody's doing things. But when you shifted gears from the mentor magnet to your newest project, what is actually like...
To the meat game.
Yeah, to the beef game. This is your calling, I feel.
I think it is.
Okay.
So I feel like that. I feel like the universe wants me selling extraordinary beef to everyone that I can find.
Can you explain why you started the Beef Bootlegger in the first place and what made you transition, and go through the journey, and then we're going a little bit deeper.
Yeah, so the journey, basically when I moved from Texas, I brought $2,000 of high-end Texas grade beef.
Yeah.
And when I got through all of that, I checked out Publix, I checked out Costco, wasn't really happy with what I was getting.
Yeah.
And fate led me to an old boss of mine's place in the middle of nowhere by Cape Coral. And I just happened to stop by the store to buy some beef on the way back, and it was the best beef I ever had. So the rest is history. I used to drive down there, buy 100 pounds a month.
Yeah.
Befriended the manager of that place. He would kind of bag it up just the way that I wanted it, 2-inch thick steaks. And then I had some friends over. They said the best steak ever. No kidding. And then that was it. That was the signal. I was like, okay, I should be bringing this to everyone. And then just started moving that way. And 90 days later, here we are. We got a website. We got, probably 100 customers, and I fed, I think, probably 500 people, just giving samples and knowing that I got the best beef in Florida.
I think you're actually underselling now because, we've been on some events, and first off, when you want to get something off the ground, most people are very conservative, and they're just like, okay, they have the vision, they're talking, and they're dreaming, and they're not doing. And you're just like a train. You're just like 200 miles per hour. Okay, we're talking to this, and this, and this. Yeah, so can you go into that, how you get that drive?
All right, so I don't know what, the drive comes from passion. So I definitely have passion. I've been, I've lived a good life. Now I'm a little bit of a cleaner guy than I was. I used to be a wild dude.
Yeah.
And I think that you need to channel energy into a productive way. So there's the working out piece of it. I'm not saying that you have to eat super healthy, but I gravitate towards eating healthier, and then meat is very in. So there's all of that, but it's a lot of fun to eat good food with other people.
Yeah.
And so I think steak is the new whiskey. So kind of having a party, just do it on the grill, and it's a lot healthier. And I think that's kind of a trendy vibe. So I'm motivated to share those experiences with other people. And as far as running the business, I was very generous. So at first I was just giving steak out. It was kind of steak Santa.
Yeah.
And then, but I knew what I had was really good. And then I think that also generated a lot of goodwill. So I'm always happy to, put steak out in the universe, so to speak. And I feel confident that it will come back to me, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I'm not holding back. So big events, also meeting people, I'm going to the places where people are, where the meat eaters are, and making the right type of relationships.
Yeah. And you're actually like very, very outgoing. Would you say you're like, I'm a person who's like really good at networking, or what's your personality like? Because like, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Is that coming easy to you? What's the situation here? Because like, I saw you hustling the events and it's like extrovert pure, this is like.
Well, I think I'm evolving, right? So if we would have talked about the first event that I did, I'm also learning, right? So I'm not going to be scared to learn something or to like fall down and get back up. So I'm not very timid, but it's because I'm passionate about what I do. If this was in the corporate world with my day job, I probably wouldn't be as outgoing as I am, because I'm like a 12 when it comes to meat. But at work, I'm not introverted. I can have a good conversation, I know a few things, and I'm happy to meet people and interact with people as well. So I think even if we fast forward another month or two, we'll be even more extroverted and outgoing. But right now, I'm definitely kind of on my game, and I'm really enjoying meeting good people. That's the other thing. The type of people that I meet are like-minded.
Yeah.
So there's sort of a vibe there that I can just look at someone and,
feel the energy.
I feel the energy. That's it. And they're good people. They want to be good with themselves. They want to help other people. So it's really like almost not like that. It is very natural, actually. There's no faking it. It's all 100% genuine. And so there's a good vibe.
Yeah, I always say you can't fake steak,
You fake steak. You cannot. You cannot.
Especially
Bill Gates is trying.
Here in Florida, it's forbidden.
That's it. Forbidden.
Yeah. With that being said, though, like, it's really rubbing off. Like, I'm like, okay, everybody's working out and everybody's super buff, and all the people are like being sporty. And I'm just like, the last 2 years got to me, So I'm just like, okay, we got to step up the game. And I'm just like, oh, this mentor shenanigans, it makes sense. It's, that it's a real thing. If you see it on the internet, you're not really like in the right circles, you don't think it could help,
Yeah.
till you experience like the right people.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot to that, right? So again, it's the vibes, and I think also if you're seeing people healthy doing stuff that you want to measure up, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out the most with. So I think that's part of it. And yeah, I think as far as the world goes, right, we want to be the change that we want from the world. And I think what we're doing is actually like a really good thing. Maybe there's a void that I'm filling, but I don't really think that. I think just being around people and being healthy, being a little bit cleaner with your day-to-day life, and then also having a lot of energy that you want to put out is contagious. Yeah, no one wants to sit back and like not be a part of that.
Yeah. You said like you had like interesting past. If we want to go into that, were you always like that driven?
Well, I don't know if I was always that driven. I had a lot of energy. I've, been successful, but I've held myself back. So I used to party a lot. I used to do, a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, and, try to, live a very wild life. I didn't try. I was actually quite good at it. But after you get into your 40s, right, you have health problems. I've got like a family now. So that all had to, that energy had to get channeled into something a bit more productive. And so I just gave it all up basically in one day, and that was 5 years ago.
Damn. With that being said, like you said, like 40s, like I would be like, okay, I'm in my 30s, I'm feeling old, like, so you can still change your life. Like, how long did it take you to change your life, basically?
So it's not overnight. Well, I think really the decision to stop drinking was overnight. Yeah. So I had some health issues or whatever, but those weren't enough. So if you're, all the way like alcoholic, you'll probably keep going until you have a desire to stop. Now, some people seek programs or whatever. For me, I really just woke up one day and said, all right, that was it. It was a bit of a struggle for about a month. And then after that, a big part of it was going to the gym. Yeah. But after a certain amount of time, I went to AA for like a little bit, but I wasn't really vibing on that so much, but it's a good place to start. Yeah. But COVID hit. So like they weren't.
What a time to.
Oh, well, I'm so grateful. So I stopped July 2019. Yeah. And then I was like working out sort of on the rebound as far as creating a new life and doing new things. And if I was still drinking or whatever when COVID happened, I'm sure that would have been kind of a doomsday scenario for me to be stuck at home. I was doing push-ups, and then as soon as like gyms opened up in Texas, which wasn't long, it was maybe 90 days after the 2 weeks to stop the spread deal. But I was pumping it. I was doing crazy push-ups at 4 a.m, and when I went in the gym, I was already blasted through goals that I had set for myself. And that was actually a revolution in my mind, because I had these lofty goals and I killed them the minute I got back in the gym. So within 90 days, I was already past whatever I had set for myself as like a lifetime. And then after that, I'm like, okay, Like, we're not setting goals. It's all self-limiting stuff. You can do way more than you think you could ever do.
Yeah, for most people, like, they even have like a problem even coming up with goals. You know, most of society is like, it's iffy. To say the least. How do you set goals?
Okay, so I'll talk about that particular moment in time, because I think that still influences what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
So again, without getting too conspiratorial, when COVID happened, some people think, okay, this is a pandemic kind of thing, and I was one of those people.
Yeah.
So I was already telling the kids, hey, you're not going back to school. It's not like an extra spring break. And basically, whatever comes out, however long this is going to be, the people in charge want you to be half the man that you're going to be. Well, you're not going to be half the man. We're going to be twice the men. So we're going to be 4 times the average man, or who we are coming out of this.
Yeah.
And then, so that was good. So I did. So anyway, like 90 days, I broke my record that I had in my mind. And so then I ended up getting a new job, and I sat down with the kids again and said, hey, now I'm getting this new job. And these are like teenage boys, right?
Yeah.
That you guys are going to have to do more about around the house. So I can do
like,
more,
what?
right? So now I've got to be not 4 times the man, but I've got to be 8 times the man, right? And so I said, you guys are going to have to do what you're capable of doing to free me up to do more of this sort of new career that I had to get into. Everything was still work from home, right? So it's a different thing back then. But then the next job I got, sat him down again, said, okay, now I got to be 16 times the man. So anyway, so from that conversation, I'm now in Florida. I've had 3 moves professionally.
Yeah.
I would like to think that I'm 32 times the man that I was. And when I say that, that's it. We got to go exponential, right? So this is an incremental change. So when we think about like, okay, well, now I'm just adding Beef Bootlegger on top of that. Well, okay, now I got to be 64 times the man.
Yeah.
So no problem. Let's fucking go.
I like the attitude. But let's start off with like, what is the Beef Bootlegger, and where was the Beef Bootlegger when he started?
When I started. So when you say that, do you mean where were we 90 days ago when I got my first business card?
Yeah, the first business card, the whole 9 yards. You started up. How did you start off?
Yeah.
Because like that's not the typical, and the journey where I'm trying to lead up to.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll try to give you the faster version. So basically, I knew that I was going to sell this meat. At the time, I was going to this small little market, down south. And so the manager there was packaging 100 pounds of beef for me per week. And I said, hey, can we dial this up? Like if I came down, can I get 200 pounds, 300 pounds? But anyway, they weren't really big enough to do that operation. But being aggressive, I was pressing it. But basically, I had the meat. So I had the meat, and I would just kind of sell it to friends and talk about it. And at our entrepreneur meetup, I would pass around a steak as my business card, and we're just having a little bit of fun with it. And I wanted to build a business out of our network, out of the Entrepreneur Social Club. Yeah. So my designer came out of the social club, and then I had a design. So pretty soon after that, I was able to print the business cards. Pretty soon after that, I hired a guy to do the web. Took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but we got the website. Longer is a few months longer. But I didn't let that slow me down either. So what I also found is you don't need the internet to sell stuff. So 100%. I'm actually way more effective in person. And I would think in the beginning of May was when, I had a brand and I could get some t-shirts made and those type of things. And then I just started throwing events. So June had 3 events, progressively like larger and bigger, but those were all great. July was a bit of a consolidation on the events because they're expensive and I needed to plumb the business a little bit. And then here we are in August, and now my website's going, and now I'm going to be, pushing sales and stuff to the websites. But we just had an event 2 days ago that was amazing. And again, I brought everyone from the entrepreneur group, so I want to support local businesses. Basically, I just want to help everyone. And in the act of helping everyone, I do benefit and run a profitable business, but I'm not just, out there trying to make money. I actually want to blow up in St. Pete and the whole area and just have a giant set of parties going on.
I love that. But on the flip side, you always text me like, hey, big win.
We got a lot of wins.
We got a lot of wins. We love wins here. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. Can we tease it? With the...
Which one? The new thing that we're coming out with?
Yeah. Sling all the wins.
So here's what are all the wins? Okay, so a couple of the wins. Let's say a month ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago, I decided I would hit all of the largest apartments, the high-end apartments in downtown St. Pete. Yeah. I made appointments to tour them all. As I was taking the tour, I talked to management, say, hey, I'm looking to sell beef out of St. Pete. One of these is going to be home base, but I'm very interested in the community facilities. Let me check out the pool. Let me check this and that. Always with in mind that we could do big events. And so 5 out of 5 all said yes. And 2 other ones that I spoke to as well, they're all happy for me to put brochures in the welcome packet. So I didn't think that I'd get 5 out of 5, but that was like a great win.
Yeah.
And then what you need to do is you need to follow up. So I followed up with the one that was, the most accommodating to what I was trying to do, which was a poolside event beyond me with some of our entrepreneur buddies. And we just put that on. And it was an absolute banger. Smashing. The sun came out. It was perfect weather, live music. Everyone was doing great, giving out beef. So I think that really epitomized the vibe that I'm going for. So that was a win.
Yeah.
Doing some work with some of the local gyms. So UFC, stopped by there. I reached out to them with their opening. It took a couple weeks. They came back to me, and basically we're locked in for the grand opening of UFC Largo. So that's supposed to be like 750, 1,000 people. Just came from there right now, working with the chef and the catering company that's going to be doing the cooking. And it's a big event.
Yeah.
If you got to feed 1,000 people in 10 hours, that's 100 people an hour.
Yeah.
That's
how the feeling.
Someone, if you got 3 grills, that's someone every 2 minutes. So anyway, there's some logistics and things, but that's a good challenge. Like I could be thinking, oh, I'm too scared for that. It'd be a lot of money to outlay. But like I was saying on the way in here, no retreat, no surrender. Like there's nothing that's going to scare us. We just got to get the right people involved, put the right mindset to it, and then execute.
Most people don't even know what that even entails. Like let's say the smallest event that you did, I would say like let's say ESC,
yeah,
the cost of that, most people would not even ball on that level. They would be scared. You're not a scared person.
I'm not scared, but that's what credit cards are for. So I mean, we got we got to get a little bit of the money back. But that was a great learning experience. That was actually a little bit before I would have liked to do something where we're serving full meals, but I learned a good lesson as well, like not to do that. So the lesson that I learned there is I was too busy, trying to organize meals and do things instead of talking to people, shaking hands, and having a good time and selling food. I mean, I'm sorry, not really selling food, giving away food and selling meat.
Yeah.
Right. So that was influential. And I don't think that you'll see me put a lot of thought into creating a restaurant style vibe. I'm actually competing with restaurants, so I just wanted to be a more easygoing party scene.
Yeah.
Get the food out and have people really try the best beef in Florida.
Well, yeah, all I'm trying to say is like you're not holding back, you're putting everything on the line, and you're just like going hard. And I'm just like, damn, this man is.
Well, we're going even harder. So I got a couple more ideas.
Yeah. So what are those ideas? Oh shit! First, I want to say like the UFC thing, is like a bigger deal than you just made it out to be. There will be fighters. It will be a big.
Oh, event. The mayor's going to be there cutting ribbons. We got pro fighters. Matt Hughes so I just figured out who's going to be there. So I don't watch as much UFC as I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to get caught up with all the dudes that are making waves and cracking skulls. But I'm gonna meet kind of an idol. So Matt Hughes was one of the guys when I was growing up. Yeah, he's like all American, so he's going to fit right in the beef bootlegger vibe. Everyone there is great, and again, like that's kind of the right mindset, and the vibrations are just like lockstep. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm seeing you like just like progressing like really rapidly. Where some people they don't make the same steps, and that's like the perfect sign. Like you're as a person, I was like, dang, he's moving things.
These are happening quick. So I'll give you another one. So we interviewed our buddy Matt from ESC. So he showed up like 10 days ago. Gave him a steak. I could tell he's a meat eater, and we got to interviewing and talking at this poolside event. Well, the next day I went and worked out at his gym. Met up. Turns out he's having his 5-year anniversary party in 2 weeks. Well, guess who's serving steak at Pack Animal Fitness on the 15th? So we'll see you there if you're rolling. Let's go. So that's another one. So again, that wasn't forced or contrived or anything like that. And I didn't know he was doing an event like that. But that's, again, maybe a testament to being generous with the Steak Santa giveaway, and building a little bit of goodwill. I mean, who doesn't like a free steak that's great? But the guy works out. I went, trained in his gym. I love his gym. I'm about to cancel a Sporta, and I'm getting another gym membership at Pack Animal Fitness. It was great. It felt good, and I could tell there's going to be cool people there and having more conversations. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, let's talk about it too, because like all the people that we're meeting and who are actually really into steak and beef and ground beef and all the above are fitness people. What is like the nutrition? Like, what is your nutrition right now?
Yeah, I mean, mostly beef, right? So again, I'm not like carnivore hardcore, I'm happy to eat vegetables or whatever, but I need to cook very efficiently, right? So I don't need to make a mess that I need to clean up. I don't need another pan with green beans. I just cook, ribeye steak or whatever steak on the grill outside, chop it up, eat one for dinner, take one for lunch every day. Had a 1 pound steak salad, just go to, and it's good. I feel great. I actually don't do a ton of exercise as well. I'm too busy, so I was on the weekends. I can get maybe an hour and a half workout in, but I didn't work out for 10 days straight before that event. I was actually impressed when you did some of those photos. I was looking pretty good. Like other people, like if you put in a little bit of the work and you build a lot of muscle and you're eating dense protein, meat, like the rest of it takes care of itself. You don't really have to like go berserk. You can just eat a lot of meat, go to the gym, and then put in the work, put in a couple hours, and you're gonna feel a lot different. And once you get a lot of muscle, it kind of stays there, right? Like it might take a year to put on a ton of muscle, but if you didn't do anything for a week or two, it's not going to disappear. So that's also a bit of a hack. Like you can put in the work for a year, you could dial it back a little bit, or people who get injured or something like that. You don't want to get fully injured where you can't work out for months, but never want to take too much time off. It's more of a mindset thing, right? I was regretting not being in there with the 10 days, but so much shit was happening so quick. Or maybe I'd get like 30 minutes in and I wouldn't not go to the gym because I only had 30 minutes. I'd just go do it for 30 minutes and go hard.
Talking about the gym, I'm having nightmares if I remember when you're like, Fitz, we're gonna do another 20 and 20.
That's 20 and 20.
What is that?
The 20 and 20, that's where it all began. So I had, again, this was kind of the mentor mindset, but the goal was to do 20,000 pounds in 20 minutes on the bench press. And I did the math and we kind of worked it out. Now, I hadn't done a bench press in maybe 2 years since Texas, and I overestimated where I could go at 225. So I was trying to Hulk it, be a beefcake, but we got real close. I think we did maybe 18,500 something, 18,900, but we didn't get to the mark. And some old dude had to rescue me with 225 when I was gassing out. But we did it again the next time, and I think I did 23,000 pounds. But the lesson was Elon Musk set 10 years of goals and do it in a year. You won't necessarily get 10 years worth of goals done, but you get a lot more than if you just set goals for a year. And that was kind of the thing. And also I felt effing great when I did that 20-minute workout. I felt like I'd finished a 2-hour workout. And it was a lesson too that you could work out hard and you can do a lot more than you think you can. So it was a good lesson. With
that being said, I was just like, oh my gosh, like hearing that for the first time, I'm like, wait a minute, 20,000 pounds in 20 minutes?
So if you do the math, that's actually a good challenge for anyone watching. You figure out how to get there, you get there on your own, because different body types could do it a different way, but that's a great challenge, 20,000 pounds in 20 minutes.
I was just like, what? And we did it.
You know what else was it was the quickest way to a 1%er, because only 0.4% of people in the USA can bench press 225 once. So that was another thing. So there's a couple themes in there that we're going for.
And you basically nailed all of them. Like first off, you did the 1%, you did the 2-hour workout in 20 minutes, you did like all the above.
That's it. I don't know if I could do it right now. We'll try again just to see how far we're coming in 6 months.
So with that being said though, what is the next big move? Like I thought you were teasing something, a big reveal.
I was teasing something, a big reveal. So it's an idea. And I want to pitch it to you. So you're going to be my guinea pig, and if you choose to accept, we're good to go. But here's the plan. Tell me what you think. Okay. So we've got UFC gym, we've got Pack Animal Fitness, which are kind of fighting and for heavy lifting gym, right? But where I really got started was a Crunch Fitness, which we did an event. We fed 200 people.
I think that was a big success too.
That was a huge success, right? And walking around, there's people who are posting their Bootlegger t-shirts, all of that. Now, what I was thinking is to expand the marketing package that I got to do that event. I actually get 5 gym memberships. I didn't even know it. So I got 1 for me and I got 4 extra. And I was thinking, because one of my goals, why we even got to talking in the first place at the beginning of the year, is that I wanted to help people, and I wanted to help people get sober and scale. So here's the idea. Sober October,
Timing is good.
I upgrade my package so I can do this for 30 people. 35 people total. These people will have them like apply, but basically you either drink, you gotta have one of the following. You drink, you smoke weed, you don't work out, and you don't eat enough meat. If you have any of that, here's the package, right? So like AA has sponsorship. Well, the Beef Bootlegger is going to sponsor, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. You're going to get 30 pounds of free beef for 30 days for Sober October. I give you the Crunch gym membership.
Yeah.
Okay. All you have to do is basically make a pledge that you're going to be sober and not smoke weed for the month of October. So it's basically $300 of meat and a gym membership. And all we ask for is that you post one thing and say why you're interested in doing it. And you post when you finish and say how you feel. Now you have a couple posts in between and there's no expectations. So 30 days, work out, eat meat. I'll sponsor that. And you just pledge not to drink and don't smoke weed, and then we see how you feel after 30 days.
I mean, that sounds like a no-brainer. I mean, like, everybody would jump onto that, but how should I criticize that? Should I criticize that of the aspect from the business model?
Well, it's not necessarily great business, because it's probably a $10,000 expense.
Exactly.
But here's the deal. So maybe we get a little bit of content out of it. Again, so people, maybe the first 10 that apply a giveaway, maybe we get a lot of appetite for it, and then we pick some people or whatever. But I'm thinking like the 30 people, we do something where we sign them all up the day before October 1st. Yeah. They're ready to go. I give them all 10 pounds of beef each, so that's like 300 pounds of beef. We got to do that a couple times, so I'm not giving them all 30 at once. Yeah. The freezers might not be able to handle it, and just logistically it's a bit of a hassle. Yeah. So we could also have a couple check-ins or something like that. But
I like that.
Let's say, so there's even a little bit more. Now, again, maybe month 2 we keep doing it, month 3 we keep doing it, and maybe they start to pay for the beef. But again, in the spirit of goodwill, let's say 5%, 10%. Let's say 10% of those people really get sober because they feel so good and they don't do it. Okay, well, that's 3 people that are sober. We also get some content, but let's say that it's more than that because they're vibing off it. Also, again, like being healthy is pretty trendy right now.
So should be always trendy.
It should be. When I was when 20 to 40,
another thing,
partying was pretty hip. Anyway, without focusing on that, so like, will it help people maybe just take it? Like maybe they're thinking about it, but they're not doing it. There was a guy at the pool, for example, that I was like, oh, if I was to do this, we'd be interested. He's like, fuck yeah, I would, because I really need to do that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll look you up in October. He's like, I don't think I want to wait that long. So I think there's a bit of a demand there. But I think also what I was thinking is, see, 30 days was enough for me to not crave alcohol. You really need 30 days or more to break a habit. So I'm happy to sponsor the first 30 days. The next 30 days, maybe you pay for half. So you're still getting a killer deal on the beef, and I still pay for the membership. The next one, maybe the next month is maybe just the membership. You kind of like now doing your thing, but I want you to pass it along. So for those that make it that far, they get to like hand the baton to someone else that they're thinking, and then I'll sponsor that person. So kind of get like a chain reaction a little bit. So it's not really just Sober October is like the thing to start. But anyway, that's what I was thinking. So what if like 30 people were all getting beef and all working out, all had a goal to be sober. Not everyone's going to make it, but we could start a little bit of a movement, and then it would be totally local. And I think just how you were kind of getting rubbed off the right way for people who are doing things, that we would rub people the right way. Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of what I was thinking as the next big thing. Now it'd be a $10,000 investment. I don't necessarily have $10,000, so I'll maybe see if there's other people who want to like contribute. I'm also working with my local rancher to see if they want to do something. Maybe they can cut the cost down a little bit. I think the cause is quite noble. Yeah. You know, but you're opening up a little bit. I mean, someone could be like, oh, here's a sucker. I'm going to take $300 worth of meat. Yeah. But I would think, like, I don't want to round down the universe. I actually think there's a lot of goodwill inside of all of that. 100%. I touch base with Crunch as well to do the logistics, and it's actually quite easy for me to get people signed up. And if people want to drop out, that's fine. You know, one man down, next man in, or women, whatever. Yeah.
I love the idea, and it's really like how you want to dial it down or dial it in, because like on the one side for the food, that is a no-brainer. If I hear, okay, I can save some money, like actually you can save double. You save on alcohol or whatever you do.
Yeah, you're going to save double. Hell yeah.
You get the meat, you're saving again. Now you're going to the gym and you get into a community, you get good momentum, and this is a no-brainer in my eyes.
I would just add on to that. So part of it is that if you're in the gym, hopefully you're going to get motivated a little bit as well. But like the weed thing as well, is weed really bad? Not really, whatever, but it zaps your motivation, right? So you're going to be content if you just smoking bowls on the couch, right? So it's also about not being content.
Yeah.
Right.
Being
So you
hungry.
need to get that itch. You need it, right? And then so you're going to fulfill that, because
Yeah.
a lot of people like, this was what was not, I didn't never vibe with the AA, because it's like, oh, you have a disease, you have these deficiencies and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I would actually flip it around, right? So everything has an equal and opposite reaction. So it's actually like a superpower. So if you have all of that like angst or whatever, and you just channel it into something good, it can
Yeah.
be a major force for success, right? So it's
I like that.
sort of to get people to just get off whatever inertia that they have. I mean, some people are probably going to have like all four of them, right? But anyway, something to just shift the momentum, flip
Yeah.
it around, and then do it for 30 days. And then hopefully you've got like now your new habit. You're going to think differently. You're going to feel differently. Probably make some friends. And again, that agitation that you had, that you were maybe coping another way with shitty food,
Yeah.
right? Weed or booze, you're gonna shift the momentum. And I also think it will be contagious.
Yeah.
I think that even like my own journey, a lot of my friends, continue to party or whatever, and I was kind of like sober guy hanging out. I never like hid from any of that, but I could tell that they were looking at me different, maybe even having a little bit of envy in the fact that,
Yeah. Oh, you
I've done
better,
stuff.
whatever.
Yeah, but if I look like, 5 years since then, I mean, like I said, working my way to be 64 times the man
Yeah.
that I was. And I wasn't like a small, timid person back then.
Yeah.
I was, a real man, and now I'm trying to turn myself into a giant, I suppose, like,
Yeah.
morally and doing good for people. And I think that
Giving back.
other people, right, would see it and giving back. And also, like, again, I had a whole vision board. You've seen that when you've been to my house.
Yeah.
Like, a big part of it on the top is to, help other people get sober. So to me, it's almost like a no-brainer to do it at a massive scale, because all of the things that led me to take the actions that I did in the beginning of the year that led me to meet you and to do what I'm doing were the things on the vision board that I didn't do in 2023.
No. And I think, like, with that being said,
Social media, leveraging AI. I don't know if I'm doing that one, but it was really to help people
Yeah.
and to help people at scale. And so those things, I would hammer them all basically in like one go. And then, in addition, then, hopefully there's an angle that these guys would, be hardcore meteors after that.
yeah, I feel like it's totally doable. And first of all, you grew a lot, like back in the day, a little bit awkward in front of the camera, a little bit like Matt, Matt is like, you saw how he felt, he felt a little bit insecure and whatever. And it's just like, yeah, now you're like solid. I'm just like, if you make a banger, I know you're making a banger, So it's just like a little bit of like little things to change. But besides that, you're like there,
Yeah, well, also it's still kind of part-time gig, right? So with anything, more practice is going to get better, but I could, worry about how I looked or saying the wrong thing, but,
yeah, it doesn't matter.
what am I going to do? Exactly. That's
The internet
other thing.
forgets
Like,
in one day.
No one cares. Exactly. Okay.
It's like,
even in the day. But I love it. Also, I'm working with you. I'm working with good people as well. So I think we're all kind of making each other improve. I would
100%.
like to think that you working with me is making me better. Me working with you is making you better. We also like have cues and stuff. Like we were talking about the director and the content that we were making at the pool, which was really helping all of the other people.
yeah.
We were like naturals at that point. We were kind of like,
It seems very
interviewing people,
professional.
doing it. Yeah, exactly. So, this was only our fourth gig from nothing.
Yeah, and like I said, like there's a growing phase to everything, and you already like very there. Where I'm like, okay, there's like, okay, he's probably doing better than me, and I'm like, oh god damn it.
Well, to be honest, having more time, right? So this is a part-time gig. I still work 10 hours a day on my regular gig, and I got to have my mindset and do a good job.
Still doing the
make sure
gym,
that I'm
all the
earning a
above,
paycheck,
kids.
gym, kids, family, like really got to do it all. But that's what I mean about being 64 times the person. So we had someone who said that they didn't have time not too long ago, and we all kind of like laughed at that, right? So I would just say you have to be very intentional with your time, and you have to not be linear with your time.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's really easy.
I have to be very diligent, but you see the moves that I'm making now are like exponential, where before I thought ESC was a big thing with 80 people or iceberg cold plunge, big thing, 80 people. Crunch was big with 200 people. And now we're doing the apartment stuff, but 500 people, 1,000 people, let's do it. Or instead of just feeding people, right? This thing where I'm spending $1,000, $2,000 to do an event, and I get publicity, I guess, and name recognition, but I can channel that money into like an actual like personal relationship with someone to get sober. So it's a little bit more expensive but meaningful. But I think also, again, if it's the right content or you know, again, if those 30 people are each posting something, that would be quite compelling, right? Or maybe we could even start, not like Survivor where people drop off, but it would be a nice story to follow along, to go do all of that. Again, I only thought about this 2 days ago, so I got to put, like, I haven't thought it all the way through, but I think that would be compelling as well. And again, like, we're here in St. Pete. That's the only place that I would do it, but maybe other people would want to do it for themselves. Like, it could spread.
Yeah, there's like several things to it. First off, several ways to do it. Get sponsors, you know, and they are basically maybe just like hooking you up and there's no upfront cost for you, and you just being like the guy who's doing the work with like holding them accountable. You're doing like, hey, checking in, you know, it's 6 a.m, are you up, for example, you know, pep talk, whatever, you know, stuff like that. Or you have goodwill and you hope that it will pay off long term.
Maybe I could have someone do that. I'm too busy to talk to 30 people to do it. I'm like, hey, here's the shit, go do it, you know, be accountable to yourself. But yeah, if I needed someone to run around with a whip, I could find that person. Wouldn't be me though, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's several ways of doing it, and there's another thing that is out there, and it's called 75 Hard. Have you heard about that?
I don't think so. Tell me about it.
So basically what it is like, it's a book by a person, I forgot the name, but he has a program where I work out for an hour every day, take a photo every day, drink a certain amount of water every day, and after 75 days you have the routine dialed in, and it's called 75 Hard.
So I believe that, because 30 days is too short. I think it's actually 60, but there's scientific studies of how many days it takes to break habits and to start new ones, and it's definitely more than 30. And that's what I was saying, I don't think I've got the budget to you know, sponsor someone for 90 days, but I'll get you off the ground. I'll meet you halfway on month 2, and then hopefully, you know, now this is sort of on your way to a lifestyle, and I've made that relationship with you.
Yeah, I feel like, though, like I said, like the community aspect would be the biggest part of it. And if you get like sponsorships or whatever with that, and you combine that in a smart way where you can be there, you know, so that those people feel more motivated because it's rubbing off versus like, hey, I'm going now alone to the gym, I feel awkward.
Well, that's why I was thinking as well, though. So if we did the thing, again, I have to be realistic with my own time. Like, I could romanticize that, okay, everything, this thing, and we could go do it. And if I didn't have a day job and this is all I do, I would be happy to do that. Like, I actually, like, eventually in a future world would be going to different gyms and hopefully motivating, but being seen there and working out with other people or whatever. In this particular case, though, I was thinking that we could have a class and hopefully people are exchanging numbers or whatever, and they could actually work out with each other.
Well, group chat.
That's what I'm saying. So we would have a group chat. We would do something so these guys can motivate each other. Like, I'll be in there cheering them along, but again, I can't be like holding hands and doing stuff. But I would also like to think that people are kind of motivated to do it. We don't want any like total squibs on day one. Like, if you,
but you're kind of asking for them though, because like it's like you want the people with the issues, you know.
I want the people with the issues, but that's what I'm saying. You automatically think that people with issues are squibs. So I know that people with issues don't necessarily have to be squibs, right? So
there we go.
Right?
You're here to hear first.
So, well, that's it, right? So not everyone, okay? A lot of people have certain things that people label as deficiencies, right? But it's really maybe misplaced energy. And I guess what I'm trying to do is say, hang up the stuff that holds you back. So my wings grew. The amount of shit that I used to do and have to fight over hangovers, or if you're partying, like, you know, going to work after 3 days and not sleeping or something like that. These are things, you know, that you're able to power through. But if you start to release those chains, like, man, things are limitless. So it's as much as what you're not doing as what you are doing, I think, as far as that goes. But yeah, I think also people would be able to hopefully gravitate from each other. And you might get little cliques that come out of it. That would be great. If there's like 4 dudes that work out, that'd be cool.
I mean, like, there's definitely a way to finagle that in a smart way. And I like the idea, and I think the idea has potential. And it's really like, okay, who do you talk to? Who is interested in it? How do you pitch it? I met a guy who was like pitching his recipes, and now he has a restaurant chain.
So, well, there it is. Well, so that's what I figured. I figured that I could just basically put it out there on social, and maybe it's like, if you want to do it or tag someone that you think would be interested. Like, I don't know, right? So do I get 30 overnight? Maybe or maybe not. But we could promote it and tease it, and I think maybe the first 10 are like the first 10, and then whatever comes after that, maybe it's a lottery, or maybe I'm like looking at people and saying, okay, these are the type of people that I want. Like, I don't want to have all of the same type of person and mentality. I do want to have some diversity in the type of people. Yeah, I want different age groups, men, women, maybe people who are trying to like not do different things. So like I said, I haven't put a ton of thought into it, but again, I like the idea. Without like overanalyzing it, like put it out there. I just got to figure out how to fund it. Yeah. And then I had a few conversations today to just make sure, I could do the logistics, how to sign people up.
Yeah, that's the easy stuff.
That's the easy stuff. The other thing that I need to do, though, because with that marketing thing for $1,000, I get to run a 30-second ad. Yeah. So that's the other thing. So maybe you're going to have to help me with that, with my first commercial, my first beef bootlegger commercial that we're going to run inside of those Crunch gyms.
Yeah, I mean, like here in St. Pete, and man, there's so many golden nuggets. Like I think Victor told us about like the little commercial that you can run in the apartment
all
complex.
Of that stuff.
I already have like the pre-edited version of the steak on the grill. And
man, look at that.
Couple switches,
Extra credit.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get you a bonus. Well, let's do it. Let's do it. So that's the thing, right? So for me, it's just time, and I really need to lean on people. And if people have ideas, like I would love to benefit from their skill sets. Because again, this isn't my expertise, but also at the end of the day, I got to be selling stuff and plumbing a business that can fulfill delivering meat for 100 or 1,000 people. My goal is to have 1,000 customers by the end of the year. So originally it was 100. You remember that? That's too small. That's baby talk. It's baby talk. So we got to 10 years worth of goals, baby. So now it's 1,000. So we got to figure out how to get to 1,000. Yeah. So I need to be the man that can feed 1,000 people delivered to your door, right? So we're quality, we're taste, and we're convenience. So so you figure, let's do the math on that. So if we're going to do the math on that, that'd be 10 pounds to each person. So that's 10,000 pounds of beef per month. I got to deliver to doorsteps.
Well, the 2021. So you need 20,000 pounds, and
Yeah. Well, so look, but again, like we'll figure out how to solve those problems. But I'll give you an example as well. So also, Uber is able to deliver bags, right? So before I get to scale, I can always just put a bag in and send it. Now it's not economical, but until I get to 100 people and can pay for a driver and to kind of do things. And I was actually kind of meditating, and I put a little prayer out into the world this morning. It was like, okay, like let me deliver enough value that people want this stuff, right? Yeah. And then just put the right people, put the right ideas, where the packaging comes down, or I'm able to deliver, just like put the right type of stuff, into me to then streamline it. And I feel good about that, because literally the other day it was $24 to send a package in an Uber, and the other day it was $9. I'm like, $9?
That's a good deal.
Okay, because I want to charge 20, right? So then I'm not losing money on that. But again, I could get hung up on, where can I deliver to? What if I want to deliver across the bay? Okay, well, it's $26. Well, okay, do I like not make a sale for $6? No, just like get the stuff out there and we'll figure it out. And I had a $700 order while we were at that thing. So I didn't sell a lot of steaks, and I was like, man, was a money maker. We talked about that. I can figure out how to like do things a little bit better. Yeah. But bang, so there it was. Like I gave out a bunch of steak, and separately the universe like brought in my biggest order. By the way, that gentleman was an annual VIP. So I got my first annual VIP, and I got my biggest order ever. And I wasn't even like putting an eye on that ball whatsoever.
I love that. With that being said, like you were meditating, so that they see the value. And I feel like that is still like one of the things where I always have to poke you, And I'm like, even when you talk to the customers, I see you have the cooler there, you got everything prepared, and I'm like, tell them what's special about the meat. Tell them about it. Tell them about it. We did not mention it today.
Well, okay, so I have the best steak in Florida. I've got two separate kinds of steaks. So one is the ultra high-end steaks that you would get in a $4 sign restaurant. Now what's special about it is, instead of eating in a restaurant, let's say that there's four of us and we want to go to a restaurant. Great. We sit down, we get a seat, we pay for expensive booze, they bring us the steak, whatever. Okay, you got $100 each or whatever, plus you pay tax by that. Oh, and tipping is like $22 or 22%.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, it was 15. 20 was like a nice one. Now I think it's like
30 is like now banging.
20, 22, 25 just on the auto button checkout. Yeah. So I mean, that's four of you guys at $100 a pop. That's another 100, right? Yeah. But who cares about all of that? What we did, whether it's 4 or let's say even 12 people, what we did when I had 12 very close friends over and we had Chef Adam cook and we just had all of them eat on the cutting board, it's the experiences, okay? And actually, I won't even talk about the meat. Let's just say I got got the best meat, the best grass-fed, the best grain-fed. I got it all. You know what it's about? It's about the experiences. So if you look at the carnivores that are doing stuff on the internet, they're all eating by themselves on a cutting board, and they're eating. They're by themselves. Okay, you're being healthy, right? Well, my deal is meat you brag about. This is the stuff that you share with other people. If you're going to have a bunch of people over and you want to show off, you're going to have a lady over, and maybe, you know, you want to get laid that night, you're dating, right? This steak is so different, is so special. Beef bootlegger steak will get you laid, guaranteed, or your money back. Beef bootlegger steak will be the best time that you had with your buddies, right? Or your money back.
Raw and fresh.
Because this stuff is so good, and that's why when I do these events, really, I call it the cocaine model, right?
Yeah.
Because once you taste it, you're totally hooked. And so it's not about like showing a perfect picture or for me telling you how good it is, right?
Yeah.
It's about me finding you where you are, right? At your gym, at your iceberg cold plunge, at your UFC or whatever. I come to find you. When where the meat eaters hang, that's where you'll find me. And then I'm going to throw an event, and I'm going to cook you sliders to sample the grass-fed, grass-finished, and we're going to do the ribeye samples, and you're going to eat it, and you're going to love it. And then after that, it's just a matter of making it easy for you to find me on the internet, and for me to make it easy to get it to you at your home.
Yeah, that was the pitch. Like, you still forgot a couple things where I'm just like, you know, like the GMO, the vaccines, all this stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
know?
you get all of that. But that's so, like, okay, we got all of that. So, so the grass-fed, grass-finished, it's local to Florida. Never, they call that. No vax, no hormone, no antibiotics. Never. Okay? Which is great. Also, it's local to Florida. Now, it was interesting because when we talked, if we had this conversation 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I would have said I'm only St. Pete and Tampa Bay, and eventually I'll be Florida, right? Well, I went out to Nashville to do the Bitcoin Nashville, and there's a Bitcoin beef thing, and I'm already kind of dialed into that scene. When I first moved here, I was up in Nashville talking to a guy named Texas Slim, Texas Beef Initiative, all of that. Well, I met some great people, and then it was very clear to me that, like, that weekend when I got home, I was Florida and I was all the way over to Texas. So I met some guys that got podcasts, the Meat Mafia, super cool guys. They're like super dialed in, all healthy. They're actually all of that stuff. They'll be able to tell you all the benefits of meat and everything, right? I'm sort of an enthusiast, not an expert.
Oh, you're getting there.
And but where I'm at is I'm the party scene, right? So I think the thing that I do is I create the party in the atmosphere. So beef is cool. Meat is the new whiskey, and that's the vibe that I want to do. We're not just eating on a cutting board by ourselves. We're like throwing parties with the best beef you can find.
There's also an etiquette to it, because like what I'm seeing like on social media, you know, you see the high rises, people hanging out in nice suits, and they're like dressed up, and they're just like going out eating, you know. They're not eating like a chicken sandwich, they're eating steak, you know. And there's like, you know, you need to know your steaks, and you're like the picanha, the cowboy cut, all the above, you know. So it's like there's something to it, and you should be able to eat with those people, or at least like, okay, how do you order your steak? Well done.
Yeah, well, that's the crime, right? That's the crime. So
that's the crime.
Crime is the well done steak. So I think medium rare. If you needed to not offend anybody, a medium rare ribeye is probably be the way to go if you're a man.
If you're a man.
The prototype woman steak would be the filet. So I think if we ask, and we've asked a lot of people, I'd say that we're approaching 100 people that we've asked.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, it will be 1,000. So we'll definitely know. Yeah, I'd say 8 out of 10 would be saying, a ribeye. And some people like a porterhouse, you know, and then there's some exotics. Some people are big fans of picanha as well. But you know, there's like 5 or 6 main families of steak. And you're going to get 99% of people's appetite wet with one of those 6.
And I really want to go back to the entrepreneurship in that, because like in the community, because like if you don't know, you don't know, but people know who likes steak, who eats steak, and you can tell, you know, like if you want to treat yourself. We interviewed a guy, he celebrated like he did the biggest deal, and what was it, a ribeye that he got himself as a celebration? What a treat.
That's a treat. So exactly, you want to be able to treat yourself as well. And so that's the thing, right? So these steaks are not cheap. The steaks are expensive. They're probably 50% more than you would get in Publix, but they're the highest quality. So if you are on a budget, you can still do celebration steak. Yeah. That's totally legit. And if you're, you know, a little bit more affluent and you can afford it, you could be knocking out steaks every day. I've got a guy, he's a great guy. I won't say who he is. He's doing amazing. I would say he's low 30s age-wise. He's living in one of those nice apartments. I drop off 14 boneless ribeyes every 2 weeks. That guy's eat good, one steak a night.
One steak a night.
Go. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you have a win, the win should pay for the goods, you know? So it's like no-brainer.
But the other thing as well, right? You might realize that because you're eating healthier with the meat, that you're making up for it in other ways. Like you said, that you're not spending money on booze, or you're not doing other dopey shit, but maybe you make better decisions. Maybe you're actually like now getting buff and people look at you differently in your workplace, right? So maybe you get a raise because you look good and you're showing up to work on time.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's it, you know?
Yeah.
Like you might, and even if you're borderline squib, you know, maybe you move into like
squib.
Yeah, right.
It's my new favorite word.
That's it. Because look, honestly, attitude matters, right?
Yeah.
So, no one judges anymore. Okay, a lot of people judge, and you should be okay with being judged.
Yeah.
You should care about yourself enough to take care of yourself. If you have other people in your life that you need to take care of, it's like it's up to you. If you have a family, like no one's coming to save you. You got to be a guy that's capable of protecting your family in a lot of different situations physically. You got to be able to take care of your family economically, and it's a tough effing world out there.
Yeah.
So like no one cares that we've had it so easy. Like, you know, the easy times are drying up. So hard men are going to make it, and people that are not are going to have a tough time. So don't stick around and react to it. Get in front of it.
You heard it here. You heard it here. I mean, like, the attitude and everything is just like, you know, there's a spirit and there's a way, and I'm just like, you're going after it. And I'm just like, I'm curious where we will be on the end of the year, because like things are moving so fast. I'm seeing you like UFC event in 2 weeks in Lago, you know, and they're opening up left and right, you know. The celebrities are like hooked on the steak, and you're just like, okay, we have the premium steak. We're delivering the king platter.
Well, that's it. So, I mean, we've even got like a 14.5 pound monster slab. So, I mean, that's pretty good. A lot of people are starting to get some interest in that. We had a buddy that posted something and was like, oh, where do I get some of those? So we just got like new things on the menu. They've got to fit in bags, ideally, to be locally, right? So I've got big bags, but basically as soon as you put anything into a box, shipping is like $60 to $150. For me to ship meat to Florida, for example, $60. That's my cost, not making any money. For me to ship a box to Texas, $100. I could probably do it for $80, but it would be a bit risky. You got to put the dry ice. The box is $20. Dry ice is $27. Put a UPS label on it, $32, $80. So if I'm shipping to Austin, $80, not making any money. But what I found is, to go any further, whether it's California or Hawaii, it's like $130. So I can go nationwide if you want to pay for it, you know. But why say no? But if I can put it in a bag, I can put it in a car, and I can send it to you right to your door, easy breezy.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, like, we were talking about the Hawaii thing, and like food is so expensive there.
Yeah, right? So maybe there's an opportunity. That's the thing. So just to talk about self-limiting beliefs, right?
Yeah.
So 3 weeks ago, I was local only to say it. Now, I met one guy in particular, this guy Brett, and just in talking to him, he wanted to network with me, and you know, again, we were just vibing, right? So he's just trying to help me know, like, obligations or anything like that. And I went home and I knew the packaging because I already like sized all this stuff up from Texas. I had the packaging. Showing up the next day, I built him a $400 steak box, put a little dry ice in it, and sent it to him, you know. And I was even shipping bricks too, because I lowballed on the ice, because I was like, oh, I'll do an experiment and see if, you know, this particular amount of ice could get there, because it's 2 day shipping, right? And then so I packed the bag, and I don't even know why I didn't even look at the internet, because this was all from memory. I was doing all of this
Just like, I know,
years ago.
Whatever.
I know this much, right? So I put it in there, and then I Googled it, and I'm like, fuck, I did half the amount of ice, and here's this guy, he's got a podcast, an influencer. I want the box to be perfect when he opens it. Why would I like shave $5 on the ice? And I wasn't even thinking. It was basically like, how was doing this or what, right? So anyway, I was like, man. And then so I texted him, I'm like, oh, it was the tracking number. I was typing it, and I must have had a digit wrong. Like, I don't know if I wasn't wearing my glasses or what, right? But I'm like, man. So I tell him, I'm like, hey, if that bag doesn't show up, just throw it away. I want it to be perfect. I'm gonna send you a new one. He's like, oh man, my roommate got the thing, and he put it in the freezer, and I'm like, oh. Yes. So I got saved, right? Because, if it goes an extra day or something like that, you got to put in the extra ice for insurance. And even when that was going on, I was running my own experiment too. So I went and I got some more meat and I put that same amount of ice and I just left it in my hot Florida garage and I opened it up and everything was frozen. So I was like, but anyway, so if you got a male steak, you got to put in the insurance ice, you see. So you got to go an extra day just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case. But anyway, so that was like a little stressful moment and a little lesson that I learned myself as well. Like if you're going to put $400 worth of steak in a box, you got to put an extra $10 of ice in there.
Yeah, rolling risky.
Rolling risky. But anyway, so it was all good. We got the 11. We hit the yo.
Yeah.
And we hit the jackpot on that one.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm really excited about those relationships I made. I also met another gentleman. I won't name people, but he's already moving, a ton of steak throughout the whole country, and I had a great relationship. We basically spoke for 5 minutes. Two separate people are like, oh, you got to meet this particular gentleman. Anyway, handshake, 5 minutes worth of conversation or whatever. And when I was back, because you and I posted a half cow video that decided to get 100,000 views, I'm like, oh, I got to do half cows too. So he and I, we kind of struck a deal, and we're already collaborating, and we're basically like nationwide, whole cow, order with the best steaks or whatever. And that was 3 weeks of just, wouldn't have even been an idea 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. With that being said, like that is like you're nailing like the in-person networking, making the connections, you're connecting, you're selling meat in person, and it's like new opportunities arising left and right. Like the guy, what is his name? John with the barber shop?
Yeah. Gentleman Joe. Yeah. Love that guy.
Yeah. So that guy, also crazy ideas and everything. It's just like you see it popping up left and right. And I'm just like, damn, how do you stay focused? Because I would be just like getting left tracked, right tracked.
Yeah, so I think that is actually a really important point. So right now my mind is so active, and everyone I meet, there's like a meat idea. I think I told you as well, I'm fully obsessed. So I cannot think about anything. I'm like
steaks
waking up with that. Yeah, I dream of there's little steaks around my head. So anytime I meet, there's a meat angle.
Pushing that meat in every meeting.
That's it. So right. So anyway, so yeah, he was a cool cat, and he had that thing, and I gave him a steak, and then we were like, oh man. But anyway, we hit it off as well. So that guy's just got great energy. So it's like, okay, well, where can we post up? You cut some hair, I'll cook some steak, let's smoke some cigars, let's have a bro fest, maybe like while the beach is going on, while the sun's setting or something like that. We just got to figure out where the right places are. But the thing is I do actually have to build a business, so I need to be a little bit measured, because when I do these things, I'm a very giving person, but I could give myself,
too much
away to where I get it. So that's why I went with the giving with the 3 events in June, and then I pulled back.
Yeah.
Right. So now that I have my website going, it's great. I just need to drive also the people that I see that used to be customers, where, I have a cooler and sell people. I need to get them to the website. I need them to buy a bag, because I want to create systems that I can scale, so I can plug someone else in to pack that particular bag or box, put it in the mail, put it in the car, or give it to a driver and make the run, so I can go out and hold another event, or find some more business, to slang meat. I need to be out there selling.
And I mean, like with like social media in general, like usually I talk heavily about social media on this podcast, and it's like social media is like the momentum, when you go from opportunity to opportunity, people see like the drive and the energy that you have. But from the outside, if you're like looking from far above, you don't see anything. But social media, there you see like, oh, he's posting again, oh, he's doing this again, oh, where's he now, what is going on, and you build that momentum and trust with society. And I'm like, you're already there, and you're just like making bigger moves than other people. I saw people on social media who pushing for like 10 years and have half the views of you. I don't want to throw them under the bus, but you're one of the biggest, like in our men's group, for example, with social media. I'm just like, I can throw a couple under the bus, but I don't.
Well, meat is hot, and I knew that, right? And also I think there's a few things that validated that, and I already know from myself. So I'm just, Beef Bootlegger is really just an expression of myself. Like what would a guy like me want, and then make it cool and edgy and like speakeasy and put a little bit of vibe to it. But bottom line, meat is cool. Meat is trending, and I mean it when I say steak's the new whiskey. Like, I don't know how many channels in my feed, but if I just swipe, it's, you know, Butcher Box and all of those competitions of things trying to sell. So, I mean, obviously there's a market for it, but there's 50 different carnivore things that show up in my feed. There's, you know, Sean Baker, for example, the guy I had that ribeye eating contest with. He's like the OG granddaddy of them all. Yeah. And, you know, he's got 500,000 followers as well. So there's no shortage of like people that are into just watching people either cook steak or eat steak, talk about the benefits of steak, or shit on like not eating steak, right? And there's also a concerted effort to like take that away. So when we talk about beef bootlegger, like prohibition, you know, not a lot of people, I guess, in the younger age demographic know where the term bootlegging comes from.
Explain it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so the U.S., you know, whoever was running the show decided that they were going to pass a law that bans all alcohol in the country. So the Prohibition era. Yeah. And I should have studied a little bit. Maybe it was I don't know if it was the 15th Amendment or whatever. But anyway, so booze was illegal. It went underground. Organized crime kind of sprang up from that. But sort of the South, where moonshine comes from and all of that, right? Yeah. All the way up actually to the north, but they had speakeasies, and you know, like you go into the barber shop and you do the secret knock and they'd open the door, and then everyone was partying and gambling and boozing it up. So they didn't really go anywhere. It just kind of went, or I guess it went underground, but it didn't go away. Yeah. And then people would be sneaking around the booze in their boots, and so they're bootlegging. So there's definitely an inspiration from that if the government starts to ration beef or do these things, it's obviously got a ton of health benefits. I mean, I can speak for myself. I won't give you all of the clinical studies and the vitamins or whatever. I can tell as a guy that was very unhealthy, you know, who started going to the gym and became more healthy, just eats meat, and I'm doing pretty good for a 47-year-old. I've never felt better. I have I don't know if I have zero health issues. I haven't really seen a doctor in a while. But I feel great when I go in and get my blood work done, or, you know, I get my blood pressure. I'm all good. And, you know, like for me, just studying myself, like I really wouldn't change anything. And then if other people want to see something that they like about that, great. Work out, eat meat, you're going to be a better person for it, and then all kinds of other things might happen. And I think a big part of it as well is the like-mindedness. So again, I always joke with you, I can tell my meat eaters, right?
I was about to say that. I'm like, every time we go to people, you know, it's like, oh, you look like a meat eater, because they're strong, you know, and they have the physique and they care about their diet. And I'm like, you immediately can ask them, like, how do you prepare your meat? What do you do? You know, it's like, it's not like that they're like vegan.
Yeah. And you know, some people eat chicken and fish like that. So there's even more, because there's people that have a physique, but I can vibe a meat eater out.
I can vibe a meat eater.
And I can tell that we're going to get along, you know, right away.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's, I mean, and I think there's a lot to that. Like, I'm joking like that, but like, I think meat eaters are getting shit done too. So if you want to, like, you know, have a good business partner, or if you went, again, like this guy Matt from the gym, like, we've known each other, I would say, more than a handshake and a steak giveaway from 10 days ago. We're like bros. I went and trained with him. He gave me some advice. I was doing a new exercise. My back feels great. I'm like automatically going to go to his gym. I got off the phone on my way here. He's like referring me to someone. And that's what I'm saying is like the vibe. Homeboy's got a gym. Homeboy's built. He's badass. I got meat. I'm a little bit built, a little bit badass, and like here we are. So we're making shit happen. And it was effortless.
And like I said, again, it rubs off, because like when we were at Nova ESC, and I'm just like, you had your buddy down, and I'm just like, dang, he's buff, you know, and like you're there buff, and I'm just like, god damn it, and I'm like, okay, you gotta hit the gym. Went to the gym the next day, and then like
that was great.
After the pool, I'm like, okay, we have like the pull-up bars back there, and okay, we're just doing some, you know. Now I'm like sore too, and I'm like, I'm working out now because I'm getting inspired.
You're getting inspired, that's it. But you know what? It's going to lead to even better things. You might meet more people. You might have a different thought. That's the thing. Like,
well, close people think alone that, you know?
Yeah, well, okay. So here, I'll shit on Ozempic a little bit. So you got a new drug that like everyone is slimming down, right? So I got a lot of people around me that do that. By the way, I had a doctor who tried to give me that when it was an experimental drug when I weighed 220 and I was actually really buff. And I was like, hey, dude, I can lose 10 pounds. No problem in a week. He said, come back in a week. And I did, and I lost 10 pounds. Like, all right, I'll leave you alone. But here's the difference, right? So you might lose that weight. One, you're probably losing some muscle and not just the fat. But the working out is a mindset. The body is just a byproduct. But if you got to put in the work, you have to have discipline, you have to have grit. You don't feel like it, you make the time, you have trade-offs. Like for you to get into the gym and put on the muscle and look good, you're actually a different mindset. The body is just a part of it. And I'll also say this, again, not like putting myself above anyone else, but I don't take any like testosterone. There's all kinds of stuff that people do, and like God bless
it's
them.
so hip right now.
It's very hip.
TRT and whatever.
I'm too busy to get, and I got every habit on earth already like behind me. What do I need? Another thing that I need to make an appointment and spend some more money on. But that's another thing as well. So if you even if you're taking those things or whatever, right, that's probably a different look. So it's not cheating on the mindset. As long as you're still working out, you're putting in the effort, you're lifting the weights, like you're going to have a different mindset. Maybe you're lifting 30 pounds instead of like a 40 because you're not, juiced up. But you're still putting in the work, and that's what I mean by like the mindset as well. Again, you're gonna gel with someone who puts in the work because you put in the work, and you're not even gonna talk about it. There's no words need to be exchanged or whatever, right?
Like here, getting there sooner or later.
But hey, like you gotta start, and also again like. Okay, 2, 4, 8, you know what I mean? Things get exponential. So, like, when you get a year or two out, like, the exponential gains are going to be massive. Like, if you worked out for 30 days, you probably wouldn't see that much. You'd feel a little bit different. But if you work out for 6 months, you will be a different person, and you will look different, and you'll have a different vibe. Guaranteed.
Okay.
So keep it up, dude.
We're trying here. We're not try babies.
Move the weights.
We're doing. We're not try babies. We're doing stuff.
That's it. No try babies, and then move weights. Cardio is good, but you want to put on muscle.
That is
muscle
thing.
Will burn your fat. I lose 5 pounds in my sleep. Again, not bragging. Just now, I probably pissed twice, so some of that's water weight. But once you have more muscle, like your fat's going to go away. You might, I don't do abs. I don't have abs or anything like that. But you will burn more fat. Like literally just existing, doing nothing.
Okay, let's talk about the one thing that we did not talk about. We talked about the beef bootlegger is pushing, doing. What is he doing to relax?
Zero.
No,
there is zero relax right now. So that's a little bit of friction on the home front, I would think. So because I have a day job, and that's a full-time day job. I have to do things before I go to work. I have to do things after I go to work. I have to do things on the weekends. Now, I do try to be very conscious with my time. So I have to make time. I don't find time. So there's certain things that I would make time for, so I'll get my family time in. But it would be lacking. But if I look at the long road, do I put in the time right now to later on, like, do this business, not have a day job, and then basically I control my own time. So it's an investment now that will pay later on. But it would be painful on the day-to-day. I might miss something that my kid's doing, like baseball season's going to start soon. We talked about travel ball, which is like that super intense baseball where like the parents are all into it and it's 5 days a week and then you go to like Miami to go watch them play. I'm like, you gotta take off. Like, here's my commitment. I got 2 days. I'll show up and do practice once, and I'll show up to games. Like, I got 2 days in me, and you have to make those trade-offs. So it'd be a little bit sad, or whatever, but, it's not a perfect world. But I will make time. Now, also, like, my family could make time for me, so they got some room to improve on their side. We could meet in the middle, right? Like, if I'm going to carve out an hour or something like that, like, we could organize and meet up on that hour and make it special and have a family meal or something like that. Like, I don't have the luxury to, like, we'll bump into each other at this time if it works out. Like, if someone's out shopping, doing something, and I'm at home for that hour, well, that's my hour to be home. I don't have another hour. That alone is like a lesson that most people don't really learn until they become like parents. I guess I'm not a parent, but I'm hearing it and I'm seeing it. I'm just like, I know about the lesson, but I have not experienced it. Know what I mean? I'll say this though, like there's plenty of parents who don't do that. There's parents that go home and play fucking video games. You know what I mean? Now also, I'm lucky. I got a kid that's cool, girlfriend's cool. We have a good time. But like, some people, whether their kid might just be a little bit of a spaz, or maybe they have some type of ailment that makes it difficult. Like, I do not take the fact that I have a healthy child, you know, and a pretty healthy relationship for granted. We have lots of struggles and all of that, right? But you can't let that like get in the way. But you know, if someone, you know, a dad comes home from a hard day of work or something like that, like he also might not want to deal with his family. Just like go off or go do something. And same with the women, right? So I mean, family dynamics are super crazy and super intense, and a lot of times you got to put other people in front of yourself. And so that's a bit of a balance. So again, I like trade things off, but I wouldn't say that I put like my child in front of my business entirely, and I wouldn't say I put my girl in front of my business entirely, and I wouldn't say I put my business in front of them entirely. But like at different parts of the day or in different moments, I will definitely put like one of those three in front of the other ones, like without a doubt. And I have to be quite conscious and intentional about it. Like I don't have the luxury of like letting the day take me where it takes me. An ideal is that my day is planned out the previous day, and I work my days in 15-minute increments. So I'll also get like chippy and snippy, you know, if someone's screwing around and costing me like 30 minutes. So I got to measure that. Or my kid's like not getting ready fast enough. Well, it's not the first kid who's not getting ready fast enough, but I'm like, you know, come on, bro, you gotta roll. Like we're gonna be late. You know, so I also have to like measure my intensity a little bit. I got an 8-year-old, you know, like I'm dragging him around, like dropping off beat bags, and we're having a good time. But I'm sure he'd rather be watching cartoons, you know. But it's also good. I joke about this. He's going around watching how his dad makes money. He's pretty good about going around watching how mom spends money, you know. So it's kind of a good balance.
I really like that because like he has been on more entrepreneurial meetups than most kids. Some parents are not even like going to like networking events or like meeting any key players, you know. It's like they're still men, you know. It's just like shaking hands, and it's like
it's good. Well, he's building relationships, right? So that's also a thing, just building relationships with grown-ups and being able to talk. And sometimes it's nice that he can just say what he's saying, and other people will kind of entertain what his thoughts are. Like maybe he's talking about Transformers, and they're like, oh, that's cool or whatever, which is great. But he's dialed in. I remember one of them after, I forget who the guy was. I think it might have been our buddy Johannes. But anyway, someone was talking about landscaping or something. And then afterwards, he went up and asked him if he could handle this tree that we needed taken out. So he was like understanding that a guy, an entrepreneur, right, is there to solve problems. And he himself put together that we had a particular problem. Was trying to pair that up. So it was quite
good connection right there.
Good connection. Just as an observer outside, I was like, look at that. And then he's got buddies that he knew from when we had steak over, and he knows the guys. So I think it's just really great evolution to just have him around, kind of vibing with people who are doing stuff, and also seeing people get up and talk about themselves or whatever. So, you know, I would like him to think of his dad as a role model. And I'll do everything in my life to be that. And I think actually that's a good tie around to the sobriety thing. So to just bring it back.
Let's go back.
So I used to be a wild dude. And I'd still be drinking. So he's almost 9, so he was around while I was drinking hardcore, you know, 3, 4, 5, whatever. He's got older brothers. But I talked about advancing the capabilities of the household, right, as I was like expanding as a man. But you also have to expand the credibility of your household. So as the male in that household, and you have young kids or adolescent kids, you actually need to be buff, and you need to not be fucking around. So they look up to you as a human being, right? Because if you're sort of a dad that maybe has a kid that's like in school and he's doing athletics and this and that, and you're a little bit of a fat slob that's not like doing anything, you're not going to have respect from that kid. Now he'll respect, you know, his coach or do some other stuff, but it's also a little bit up to you to like, you know, be literally an inspiration to your child. Even more than a role model, like a role model.
Actually being really like just inspirational.
A father. Well, that too, right? But I mean, what a difference, right? If your kid can actually like really respect you on the ultimate human being level.
Looking up versus like looking down. It's like
or just again being capable, being a capable human being, and showing what that looks like to like your children. Is really important.
I mean that is a deep topic, you know, because like everybody has like different family dynamics, and in general I feel like when you have teenagers, they just rebel against whatever you are.
I think there is, and so I have some of that, right? So again, I've raised 2 almost adults now, one adult and one almost adult. So
Yeah.
I had two, I raised two children that weren't, my blood, but
Yeah.
one was 8 when Tillman was born, and he's now about to be 17, and the other's 20. Now, what can you do, right? So you
Yeah.
could be a father figure, but you can't like go around tickling an 8-year-old that's like not yours, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's sort of some differences, but both of those, like when we have sort of the deeper moments or whatever, it's not like every day you're getting all deep.
Yeah.
But they basically like treat me like a father, and I treat them like sons, and we acknowledge that, and we care about each other like with a lot of dynamics in that particular way.
Yeah.
And so I think going back to being someone that like a young male in your household will respect, and there's lots of different ways to get that.
Yeah.
Right. But
It's definitely not easy, no matter how you do it, because like I feel like if you have bad luck and you do everything right, and you have just like, okay, they want to rebel and they want.
Well, they're going to rebel, right? They're going to do some drugs, Are they going to like get hooked on heroin? So you can't tell a teenager like, hey, don't do heroin. Like teenagers are now like they shouldn't do heroin, right?
Yeah.
But again, you could build them with confidence. You could have them skills. You could like go to the gym, have them
Try
go
your
to the
best.
gym, doing stuff, and again, just be something that like they would look up to, because then they'll also like respect you a little bit. But you also got to like teach them how to be ready for a hard real world on their own. Like you got to make them, maybe you can't make them, that's the exact wrong word. You have to inspire them to like be able to make good decisions when people around them are making bad decisions. Like it's very hard to be courageous when you're young. In high school, I was certainly a follower. In college, I was like less of a follower, but I was definitely not like marching to the beat of my own inner drum, And so I think now there's so much opportunity to do things that aren't good for you long term that
it's too easy nowadays. It's a crazy thing. I was like one of those kids, I want to be rebellious, so for my benefit, my parents were not the healthiest, so I'm like, I'm not gonna smoke because you guys smoke, and I'm like, I just made it the rule, not knowing that it's a bad thing, not knowing whatever. I just didn't want to be like them, but that was the rule. And like thankfully,
well, it's hard too. So I know like my upbringing, my parents were married the whole time, middle class, had jobs,
the perfect
people
idol,
to look up to.
idols.
They weren't doing I wouldn't say perfect. I mean, we all had our own problems, and there are arguments and disagreements in the household. And I think that also raising kids, like, I mean, my dad's 83 now, right? It's just a different way to do it. For example, I've never hit my kid ever, right? So I got hit a little bit. Doesn't make them bad people.
Back in the day.
It was just like how parenting was, right? So who knows? But you could have the greatest parents, and then you could be a fuck up. You could have horrible parents, no parents, and you could be really good. And so it's just an interesting dynamic. And I think there's a story. I will not do the story justice, but it's like, did you hear about the twins that had the alcoholic dad? Okay, well, one twin became an alcoholic because he had an alcoholic dad. The other twin never touched alcohol because he had an alcoholic dad. So it's a bit of like, oh, well, I'm just going to fall into the same thing as my parents. Now, it's easy, but also going back to like where we are right now, you can't change the past. You can't change where you come from. Those are things that you can't change. So what you can change is you can change yourself. You can change your mindset. And a great way to start doing that is going into the gym, eating good food. Don't do booze for a little bit. Stop smoking weed and get motivated. Maybe you'll even start a business. Your lack of content is a superpower. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with it?
Yeah. I mean, like, I just hear it today, like I was watching somebody and they were like talking like, it's really hard to, do not do bad things when you're used to doing bad things if you have nothing to do. Yeah, and I mean, that's like exactly what you're saying. Like, if you're busy, it's easy to be healthy.
Yeah, well, I don't know all the sayings. An idle mind is the devil's playground. I think it's something like that, right? Or if you got like an open calendar, like it's easy to find bad things to get into.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're
gotta schedule something for tomorrow.
Scheduling and you got to do it. Fill it up. For sure.
And push the limits 10 times.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, like we're chatting here like already for an hour and 30 minutes nearly.
Okay. Well, that's good. I got someone calling me right here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take these in a little bit. More calls going up.
But where do you see yourself going? Like in the next 3 months? Like.
Yeah, the next 3 months. Okay, so. Again, I don't have these things mapped out in goals. So I would say in the next 3 months, I need to have 100 customers on my way to 1,000 to go exponential.
Yeah.
Done UFC. I would like to think that I'm sponsoring people inside of that gym one way or another.
Yes.
Like a fantasy that I have that isn't that far-fetched is that I'll actually have like freezers in these big gyms, and I'll deliver into the freezers, kind of like
Steak
the Amazon.
vending
Oh, well, I already looked at steak vending machines. So by the way, I have done that. I just feel like my brand needs to be better. If I just put my steak in a vending machine, I'm lowering the quality. So I have to make sure that everyone knows that we got the best beef in the world, and then we can put it into a vending machine. But it's more of the Amazon, the Amazon pickup.
Yeah.
So think of that, right? Because also time is valuable. So if you're there to train and you're coming from your day job, see, I know that I'm limited on time.
Yeah.
If that meat is right there, I save you having to drive to Publix. I save you having to go to Costco. Not only is my meat better, but I save you that time. You got 20 minutes back in your bag, and you got 20 minutes in the gym. Now you're working out an hour and 20 minutes instead of an hour. Now you're working out 50 minutes, right? So not everyone can do 20,000 pounds in 20 minutes, right? So I just gave you that time back. So again, you got to finish that set. You got to finish that yoga class. You got to finish that lift or whatever. So I think that's valuable on a variety of levels.
Yeah, I was just like thinking when I'm like coming out of the gym and I'm imagining being like obsessed with like my diet and whatever, the first instinct is like, I'm not gonna go to the McDonald's right next door. I'm not gonna buy anything from Publix. I'm not gonna buy anything. I'm just going home. And that's like the mental barricade that you have to overcome when you're like coming from the gym.
Yeah.
Now you're there with like the good steaks, dangling. And I'm like, what would make the experience easier for them? Like how much calories, how much weight, and it's like, hey, this is just 1,000 calories or 300 or whatever.
Well, I think I got to get a little bit more into that mindset, because a lot of people do measure calories, they do the macros. I don't do any of that. I spend zero
could be
time.
A good approach. I don't know.
I
just
think
came
it's
in my
a great
head.
approach. No, you're right. I'm just saying, like, for me, it's less calculated, and again, it's just kind of like being out there doing things without measuring it. And it's funny too, because I moved out here because I built a Bitcoin payroll app.
Yeah.
And so if you get like deep into the Bitcoiners, and it's a little bit different now because Bitcoin's at $60,000 and it's kind of made it's all mainstream. But if you go back a couple years, it's very quirky, and like the people who were there for a long time, it's very technical. They were like first. It's a little bit grumpy, and like it just seemed like, because again, I was going into that scene. I built an app and I wanted to like, let's go meet some people and kind of party, but it wasn't like a party vibe. Now again, there's a lot of secrecy and like
I cannot share my secrets.
Yeah, right. So anyway, on the meat side though, like it is a party, and I think without being so scientific and all of that, there's plenty of that. We even interviewed a gal, like what's in it all, the regenerative, like growing, all of that's great, but for me, that's like, I'm a little too busy to care that much. And like for me to get all the way into it is time that I'm not spending somewhere else. So I think like dial it way down.
Yeah.
Work out, eat your meat. If you ate a good grain-fed, grain-finished steak, even if it wasn't beef bootlegger, right?
Yeah.
Eating that meat is still better than eating McDonald's. Like
100%.
I shouldn't have to like show you here's the calories of a good steak and here's the calories of a Big Mac. Like, guess what? Steak is healthier than a Big Mac. Eat a steak. Big Macs are shit.
Yeah.
Like, let's just leave the conversation there and like, okay, well, I'll make it easy for you to eat a steak. Now, the one thing that I got to figure out maybe is how to give people steaks that are ready to go that night. So if I'm giving you your steak at the UFC and you just trained, well, you're going to go home and you're going to defrost that steak and you got to eat it tomorrow. Where if somehow the next code to crack is that I got like the fresh steak right there, you go home and cook it. Oh man, I'm hungry. I just did a lot of ground and pound right here, and I worked out, and now I'm ready for a big steak. Boom, we gotta go it. So that'd be the next problem for me to solve, the next evolution. But anyway, I got some ideas on that. But we gotta start somewhere, and right now it's just frozen steak.
You're moving fast, and I really like seeing you moving fast because it's exciting. And as long as you don't stop, I feel like when people stop, they sometimes get lost in the stopping, and they're just like looking back and like, what should I do? And they lose the momentum, you know. And if you keep the momentum, you're just exponentially growing, and it's like, just don't stop.
Yeah. Well, I'm not stopping. I'm not planning to slow down. I'm planning to go exponential. So what I need is I need to make the right relationships. Yeah. And I need to have an open mind and not let fear or doubt or a big rainstorm stop things, right? Like I could have easily said, oh, it's raining. let's
Yeah.
do this another day. But what did I tell you? No
Yeah, I mean,
surrender,
the
right?
flooding
No
was
Tim.
like going away.
No. I'm just saying, like, you know, if it's a big event,
Yeah.
don't be scared about it. If I've got to do something new that I've never done before, don't be scared about it. If
Yeah.
I gotta like pay a little bit of extra money and then like, oh, well, I could not do that. Like,
Yeah.
I won't say nothing's too expensive, right? Because plenty of stuff is too expensive. But I wouldn't let the cost of something turn me
Yeah.
away from a good idea. What I need to do is be more resourceful and more imaginative
Yeah.
to bring the right energy to that. So if we take this Sober October thing, right? Let's say it's 10 grand. It's probably more than that. It's probably
Yeah.
12, but let's say it's 10 grand. Okay, let's say I don't have 10 grand because I don't. Okay, I'll go figure it out. So
Yeah.
I got a month and a week to figure out how to come up with 10 grand. And maybe it's half of it. Maybe half of it's mine.
Yeah.
Maybe someone wants to sponsor some other people, or maybe something else happens where I do come into a windfall. You know, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like today is not tomorrow, right? So maybe I have 10 grand tomorrow. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what happens.
I mean, there's so many ways, and it's like, as long as you're creative and you're trying, the universe wiggles its
Well, that's
way.
what I'm saying, right? So I just got my biggest sale ever, like one day. Well, who says that I don't get 5 more of those?
Exactly.
You know? So I just got to be putting it out there and like letting the good times roll. And again, like look, I don't ever want to say no to someone,
Yeah.
but I also can't say yes to everyone.
I feel that. In the videography world, it's like very easy to film all the things, but then all those things have to be edited, and the editing takes longer than the filming. So
Yeah, well, I get that, and I mean, I feel for you. So once in a while, I'm pounding on your door because I need like some content or whatever.
well, we got you now.
Well, that's good. But I mean, that's the thing, right? So I think if we think about just where we've come in the last 90 days, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if we're just putting a bow on all of this thing, 90 days ago, or maybe it was closer to 6 months ago, right? We're in my garage and we filmed like, what does $10,000 worth of meat look like? That was
Yeah.
the first video because it was something I could talk about that I liked, and it got 10,000 views. So that was the tell.
Yeah.
Okay, we did some stuff for maybe 2 months. But if we think about, so it was, I had a picture of the fridge that I
Yeah.
got rid of to make room for my big $3,000 freezer.
Yeah.
Okay, that was May 14th. May 14th. So I
Yeah.
didn't even have a freezer 100 days ago. Actually, today's the 24th, right? So 100
Yeah.
days ago. So 100 days. So I've been in business 100 days.
Yeah, it's crazy because like going back to like what you just said, like, you know, when you started out, everything was different. You posted a little bit on Instagram. I made you, I had to tell you like, hey, you should be posting. Now
Yeah.
you're asking for stuff.
Well, because I'm more passionate about it, right? So
Yeah.
that's the other thing. So I guess if anyone's like watching to figure something out or take away for themselves, I would say like be passionate about it,
Yeah.
because then you have the energy. And also, it wasn't that long ago. So I had a day where I had to make 10 deliveries. It was like $2,000. I don't have $2,000 days all the time. Eventually,
Yeah.
they're going to be every day. But that was something that was special. And I just remember it was after a long day of work. I had to get to the men's group, so I was running a little bit late. But I was so happy just dropping off these bags, my own little world, and I had zero stress. You know, it was
Yeah.
just so meant to be. So I would just say that you will know when you're doing the right thing, because things that would otherwise be stressful are not. And even when you're putting out energy, you're actually getting an injection of energy. Like you're not
Yeah.
tired, because like, why would you be tired doing something that you love?
That's very true.
It's like totally, and even that's why I'm getting better, I think, or
Yeah.
like you and I are working better together or whatever, because it's
Yeah.
all like fully genuine. There's like zero inner friction on anything
Yeah.
that I'm doing.
And I mean, like, that is the spirit. And with that being said, I think we should be cutting this now a little bit short, because we're like going and going and going. Where
Yeah.
can people find your meat?
Okay, you can find the best beef in all of Florida at beefbootlegger.com. Come to the website. We've got a $7.77 VIP. Once you do that, I have the relationship with you. You get 10% off of everything. We have different promo codes, so I know where to find you, and I can drop that bag off to somewhere that you're going to be, or to your house, or whatever. If you do that, we have giveaways. So I want to give away steak to all of those VIPs. Maybe we got a $100 steak giveaway one week. We're doing some other things. And as we get bigger as well, we're going to be doing special events. So the other thing, like we mentioned, is that we like to party. We like to throw events. So community's big. We're going to help out local businesses all around town. But also, we're going to do some special events. So that VIP membership will give you exclusives. We're talking about a men's only.
Yeah.
We're going to teach women how to cook steak. So we're doing
That's another one we didn't even
we
hit
didn't
on.
even get to the women, so we're going to teach women how to cook steak for themselves or for their men. So much good stuff is happening, and there's no shortage of ideas. We're going to have so much fun, and we're just getting started.
I love it. Like, with that being said, thanks for being on the Create Before Consume podcast. Definitely check out the Beef Bootlegger. He's like producing the best content out there.
Oh, that's it. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, maybe a little bit of Facebook. We'll work on that, but we're not hard to find. Put in Beef Bootlegger. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Thanks, Fitz.
No problem. Oh, there we go.